They'll be out here in about 15 minutes or so. So we'll stretch a little bit, do a couple of drills, special teams wise, do a little kicking and catching, and then probably about 12:40 or so, we'll put the ball down and looking for about 100 snaps today. So it's pretty cut and dry. So hopefully you guys can see a few guys in action and see how they handle things. So we'll take some questions.
I guess the obvious one is, what do you do at free safety?
Yeah, it's a shame, man. I mean, that's obviously 2 years in a row that we lost our best defensive player and team leader. What I told the team last night was we learned how to handle it. I mean, Carl was a great teammate and made everybody else around him better, and things worked out fine for Carl. Drayvon's going to be the same way. He's going to be a great teammate. I guess the difference is his career is not over here, where with Carl, he obviously knew his career was over. So, Drayvon's a fighter. He'll attack it, and he'll be back next year, So in the meantime, we got, it's an opportunity for other guys, much like it was an opportunity for Jared Harper last year. He stepped in and played well. Jeremy Tyler stepped in and played well. Those guys are seniors. We got 6 seniors in the secondary still, so it's an opportunity for somebody, and we'll rep Toya Savory there today. We'll put Jeremy Tyler there. We know he can do it, but we're looking for some depth. Sharif has played as well, and then we got some young guys that today's important for those guys.
When's the surgery?
I don't know. They got to rehab a little bit this week. Probably, I would guess, a week to 10 days.
You speak to him, and how did he?
Yeah, it's when we found out yesterday, me and Gibby were in the locker room, and we both about puked because it was the same thing as last year. And, he was back with the doctors, and we went back there and talked to him. I mean, it's a hard deal. I mean, that kid has NFL aspirations. I mean, if he had a very, very, very solid year this year, he could have came out. I think he's that good. Hey, can you get those guys to cut the music? Thank you.
You said the same thing. Was it plant non-contact?
Carl's was 100% non-contact. This was the same thing. Nobody rolled up on him. It wasn't a tackle. It was jumping for a ball. Him and one of the receivers, went up, and he just landed on it funny coming down. There's no explanation for something like that. It's just part of the game, and you got to keep moving forward with it.
You said Tyler is tried there. Any of the corners? Because you got a bunch of those.
I don't know. I mean, all 6 of those guys are in position battles. I think a couple of them possibly could move if we needed them to, but I think we got some options now that we'll line up and see how they do. Jeremy's played there before. Harper's played there before. Toyas has been there for 10 straight practices. Sharif's been there for 10 practices. So, see how they look.
Speaking of surgery, are you shaving after camp?
This has been my look for a while now. I mean,
It's been getting there.
I don't even know where it's at. I mean, it comes and goes a little bit. I worry about a lot of things. That's definitely not one that I really give too much thought. I'm trying to get that goatee like Montoro right there. I mean, that thing's looking pretty sharp.
Other than the health, what are you looking for today from your scrimmage?
Handling heat. We've talked a lot about this the last couple of days. The last 3 days have been pretty steamy. The way we practice, I mean, we get heat early in practices, but we don't get heat towards the end of the practices. And, right now, 3 weeks from right now, it's going to be kickoff time. So, being out here at this time is something that we did yesterday. We were out for about an hour and 15 minutes when, and obviously games are a lot longer than that. This will be a little bit more realistic when the game time. It could be just like this here 3 weeks from now, and we got to be able to be every bit as strong here in 2 hours as we are right now.
Depth chart stuff, anything you're keeping an eyeball on, separation, or you want to see a backup here or a clear delineation there?
Right tackle is one. From a starter's perspective, obviously free safety is now. Got a pretty good battle at corner going on with a bunch of guys. You know, the Will linebacker, you know, Sean Walters is doing well, but David Long is a guy that we're having a hard time blocking. So, you know, I think we know what about 90% of our starters are, but there's a couple of spots that we're focusing on when it comes to that starting spot. And then, as always, you're just who's the next guy in. You got to just keep developing depth and who the guys are that we can count on getting out there and playing.
Game important to your two backup quarterbacks?
Yeah, it is. You know, Chugs has had a good 3 or 4 days. He's had a really good 3 or 4 days. So you'll see him in there, you know, probably first with the twos, and then we'll get Will some reps in addition to that. But, yeah, that's one to keep an eye on.
Keep hearing the name Justin Crawford from your guys. From your perspective, where's he at right now?
Pretty good. He's pretty good. You'll see him out here.
How many game-ready wide receivers do you think you have?
5, 6. We have 6. Gary Jennings is our 5th. I think you guys know who the 4 are. Gary Jennings is a real close 5th. And Devontae Mathis has had a pretty solid camp as well. So those are 6. The rest of the guys are not where they need to be at this point.
At right tackle, is it Colton developing or Marcel just not quite seasoned the position?
No, it's Colton developing. I mean, Marcel's got starting reps. He's got a lot of game reps. I mean, he's better than he was last year. I'm happy with Marcel. It's just simply Colton's athletic body that is smart and probably a little ahead of the curve right now for his youth, which is obviously what you're after. You want that competition. We want to develop as many of those battles as we possibly can. You know, Crawford's bringing that at running back. You know, we all know Shell's got starting experience. He knows what to do. You won't see him today. He's been concussed for a while. Kennedy is developing competition, but if you can develop that kind of competition at every position, you got a chance to be pretty good.
And again, where you thought you might be, or maybe that's not the right words, where you didn't know you would be with all the new running backs, how much better do you feel after?
I felt good after spring. I felt good after spring with Kennedy's development. You know, Eli's coming off of a high ankle sprain. You know, we know what we got with him. Ferns has been outstanding. I can't, you know, the blocking Ferns, not the tackling Ferns, which the other Ferns has been a pleasant surprise as well. But you know, with Kennedy's development through spring, we knew we had something with him. We know what Russ can do, and I thought we had signed a pretty good player with Crawford, and then he's been every bit as good as advertised. So we're probably from a depth perspective in a much better place than we were a year ago. You know, anytime you lose an NFL guy and you say you're in a better spot because of more bodies, I think that's pretty exciting.